Hello Internet, this is JF and I suck at ATS. Now in the last episode we got up to, I think, Hello 4. And we used environment variables in order to control the behavior of Hello World. We would say like, Hello Modern World by default, or you can make it traditional, or you can make it colorful. Now although this is pretty easy, it's pretty easy to get input in terms of environment variables. There are pretty many problems with that, and also it's just not the interface we want. What we want to have is normal like flags in the command line. And although getenv is really easy, this other one, like getting flags, is also pretty easy. Like processing command line arguments is pretty easy too, especially when you have a function that does basically everything for you, which is the case with the getopt. This is a function, every time you call it, it'll return either -1 for I didn't find any flags that you wanted, or it'll return a flag. And you just repeatedly call that until you've processed all your arguments. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's say this once. It doesn't say it wants anything special, so I think we'll just use it as is. This argv, this isn't, I'm not passing a pointer to an array of strings here. I'm passing an argv type that's defined in the ATS prelude, and that's just the particular type that ATS gives its argv to its entry points. And the bang here means argv, this is a linear type, and the bang is I'm not going to consume it in getopt. So argv is still going to be around after getopt returns, which is the case because you want to pass it back to getopt again in the next one. And then flags, just a string. And it's not quite a lie that it returns an int. It does return an int. The fact that the actual values it returns are more particular than that. Like I could refine this int by a bit. But it's still an int. That's valid. It's not a lie. I'm not going to get any weird segfaults for this. And of course, we want to have argc and argv. And let's do it like this. Let's loop over flags. So like process args. And then actually do something with the program. So let's have some flags. Let's say valtrad equals, and so as a reference to boolean, it's false by default. And colors the same way. So you have some global variables here, or basically global variables, and they're reference types, so we can update them later on, destructively update them, and just say, okay, actually this is true, or actually this is false. But we're not going to do that. I'm just going to have flags that just turn them on optionally. I'm going to do something very similar here. All right. Notice this n right here. This is a refinement. So argv, it has, I'll just leave it at that. Like what I'm doing here is I'm saying there's an integer, and then argv takes it. Its type takes an integer as an argument. The way that makes sense, or the way it works, is all a bunch of jargon that I don't really understand that well yet. Remember, the title of the series is I Suck at ATS. I'll try not to say that too many times, but it's still true. It's true every time. So what process args does, we're just going to go ahead and call getopt with argc, argv, and our flags, which are, how does it work exactly? So bf, and I don't know what the trailing colon is for. It talks about leading colons here, but what about, the trailing colon, that's saying that f has an optional argument. Okay, so b is a flag by itself, and f is a flag with an argument, an optional argument. Here we don't have any arguments, so we're going to have T for traditional and C for color, and just like that, and nothing else. Actually, let's have H as well for help. Alright, so we call get up and it's either return -1, meaning it's done. In that case, then just return. Or if it returns H, then we want to say usage, and I'm going to have usage not return. I'm just going to define that here. Alright. And then for T or the other flags, we're going to first say trad is actually true. And for C, color is actually true. In both cases, we're going to loop back over and process any remaining args. So either HTC or usage again. I believe that's about right. There might be some problems that argv right here, but let's see how that works. What, did I just modify that? Ah, shit. Okay, well, whatever. 28. Oh. Operator fixity. I don't like this. Oh, this is something -1. This is -1 with a tilde instead of a dash. All right, now it's saying in is not. Does no in is. Oh, probably just did the same thing I did in get up. Yeah. I've got to say there's some kind of int for that. Data v type. Ah, that it doesn't recognize this as a -1. Remember in the earlier example, like I used this symbol right here to say that it's deconstructing something and throwing it away, or it's deallocating something. It's freeing memory when I do this. Well, that's that same symbol is used for negatives. Come on, man. Ah, jeez. Like seriously. Well, a -1. I don't think it works to say, yeah, if I type -1, oh my god, here, then it's just going to bind that to anything that's going to be like a catch-all. So how do you pattern match against -1? Maybe I just need parentheses around the negative. Or the dash negative. No, it doesn't like that. It doesn't like that. And of course, if I say 0, then it doesn't make sense anymore. Wow. That's actually unpleasant. That's like the syntax for -1 doesn't work here. I can't use it here. Okay, so we can get around that. So if r is less than 0, actually say, no, if r is greater than 0, greater than or equal to 0, then go do all this stuff. Otherwise, I'll just exit. That'll be it. Alright. Wow, look at all these errors. The linear dynamic variable argv is expected to be local, but it is not. What did I do? Like, I don't even know what that message... Okay. I need to pass... Oh, I could do this. No. We are reaching levels of nuts here that shouldn't be possible. Okay, so we're going to get the program name and put it in a global variable right here. And then when we actually have this usage output, we'll pull from program name rather than argv. What? Oh, I didn't actually name it. Char pattern is L-typed, 32. Right, so now it's saying that this is a char, but I'm matching it against an int. Well, what I can do here is make this an if case instead. And then ints, you can do equality tests like this just fine. It's not the same thing as a pattern match, but it works fine. Oh, and once again, not doubles, but a single equal sign. So I'm filling a constraint that says something is less than something 0 in is less than 0. What? Whatever. It's happening on line 11. Okay. Well, if argz is greater than 0, then okay, that works. I had to reconnect the relationship between argc and argv. It's not really important here because getopt is doing the work, and getopt doesn't care about ATS's constraints. Implicit declaration is bad. I guess I do need to include unisted. All right. This, even though this looks like the same as this, this is an ATS include and this is a C include. That doesn't matter right now. Alright, hello modern world. If I say color, I get it in color. If I say trad, I get a trad. Yeah, that works just fine. So there were a few problems there, but getopt itself works completely fine. We're able to loop over arguments and set those flags just fine. There were no problems there. Let's see if this is fixed now. Nah, it still thinks it's not exhaustive. I don't know why it thinks that. So the only big issue we ran into in this episode, you'll hear this, I'm ending right now. I'm not going to have another 40-minute episode about Hello World. And we'll just have like 4 or 5 more episodes about Hello World. That'll be fine. But this is one episode, and what we showed is that getopt works fine. We can have flags for it, and the only issue we really ran into is that, well, a couple of issues. One, getopt returns an int or a character, but we just type it as returning an int. And we can't do like the pattern matching we're doing up here. We can't have int and character comparisons like that. So we changed it to an if case where instead of saying like it's similar to pattern matching, but now we're explicitly saying just compare these things, and then it'll find an appropriate function for this comparison that that is okay with the types being slightly different, and it'll actually do the comparison. Another thing, if you're familiar with Ocaml or ML, like this is not how it would have to be in ML. In ML, if I didn't have the parentheses, all this would still go into that. But in ATS, you can only have one expression here, so you have to parenthesize it if it's multiple expressions like this. Alright. So we may have another episode on doing this part, this get up part, and these comparisons a little bit more cleverly. But otherwise, this is pretty straightforward. So the final odd thing was the prog name. Like we're pulling it out, and main because we don't want to pass argv to usage, because we want to just call argv randomly from, or we want to call usage randomly from different parts of the program. That's how I usually do it in other languages. So I kind of want to do that here as well. Just a usage that just says it prints out some text and exits. In fact, let's demonstrate that. Hello. A legal option. Oh, that's actually something that GetOpt is doing for us. Yeah. It should be this. Okay, so in H you get that, and if you pass anything else, GetOpt itself will complain, and then it'll fall through, and you'll get that. By fall through, that means it still returns something. So what if it returned like the actual character? Can I do that? Can I just have a variable here? I probably can't, but what I can do is refer to R still. 63. Okay, what is 63? I bet that's I. Yeah. No, actually, question mark. So it doesn't tell you what flag it. If you pass an invalid flag, GetOpt itself will complain, and then it'll give your it'll return a question mark, which is something it mentions in fact in this documentation. So alright, that's it. That's it. We just have hello world with flags, proper flags, instead of environment variables.